What's going on, everybody? Once again, here we are, another day and another day with Terrifier 3 news. So we're going to go over what's the latest on this independent film that has been a massive success this year for the horror genre. We also have some casting updates for a new television series, Silent River. And we have our first look at Milly Shapiro in the upcoming film, The Hallowarrior. So let's get into it. So, as I just mentioned, Terrifier 3 behind-the-scenes documentary coming to Screambox. So, we've covered Terrifier 3 extensively on this channel in previous episodes up to its release, since its release, and it just keeps coming for this film. We have reported on the massive success. A little over $80 million worldwide was the final box office numbers on a $2 million investment. It's getting a DVD, Blu-ray, 4K release, physical, numerous special edition Blu-ray and 4K releases on physical as well. We're getting a video game for Terrifier 3. Now we have this behind-the-scenes documentary that is coming, so let's get into the details here. Audiences are about to get a closer look at how Terrifier 3 was made. According to Variety, a documentary centered around the production of the successful horror sequel will be making its way to Screambox next year. The project will be titled Art Attack, the dissection of Terrifier 3, and will only be available for streaming on Cineverse's streaming platform. One of the most fascinating aspects of the production of Terrifier 3 that will be explored in the documentary is how the violent kills and bloody sequences were brought to life by the team behind the sequel. So goes on to talk about what Terrifier 3 was about. So we are not going to go into those details again. We've gone into those details pretty extensively. Briefly touches on it on the jump from Terrifier 2 to 3, that 5-year jump. Goes on to talk a little bit more here about Damien Leone returned to work in Terrifier 3 after introducing Art the Clown to the world through the previous movies of the franchise. There is talks, it does mention here though, I know this has been a question for many people that have wondered whether or not we were going to see a Terrifier 4. If you've seen Terrifier 3, and if you were going to see it, I'm sure you would have seen it by now. Because, side note, it did recently hit digital, so you can purchase it or rent it via digital, and with the physical release, I believe, happening in later December. So it says here, the director is already working on Terrifier 4. Terrifier 3 left it wide open for Terrifier 4. But as I've mentioned for myself, I prefer Terrifier 2 over Part 3, and I do hope Terrifier 4 will be the final chapter in this story. It just doesn't seem to feel like it can go on much further just based on what happened in Terrifier 3, but that's just my opinion. So not much is known about the next chapter of the story, but judging by how Leone has managed to turn the property into a success, viewers should be excited about this next story featuring Art the Clown. Goes on to talk about, it has some images here from Part 3, goes on to talk about the success, and actually looks like it grossed 85 million, so that's an updated number for me. Last I had heard it was 80 million, but so imagine, I mean, yeah, right here, only cost 2 million the film, and got a return of 85 million in profit, so that's a huge return, and I am happy for the cast and crew, happy for Damien, glad they did not sell out to a big studio as they were originally approached. And yeah, full profit back to all of them. That's excellent news. Then we just have Terrifier 3 information. So while this says this will be exclusive, this behind the scenes documentary will be exclusive, I do feel though, I'm sure some of it, I can't imagine some of it wouldn't be included somewhere down the lines, whether that's on some sort of physical aspect when Terrifier 4 comes out, whether that's like a special feature or something that they include on the physical release. I'd imagine it probably will be, or at some point it becomes like a standalone physical release that you can purchase. I mean, there's just with this series, especially with Terrifier 3, there's too much money to be made that, again, I can't imagine it would just be strictly available for streaming permanently. So keep an eye out for that. Again, I expect it will hit physical at some point, or just be provided more broadly for potentially digital purchase or renting, assuming you don't have Cineverse's streaming platform. So we will keep reporting on Terrifier 3 the more that keeps coming out about it, because again, it's just been one win after another for the crew that brought us Art the Clown. So all right, so our next topic is Silent River, John Krasinski starring in serial killer thriller for Prime Video. A serial killer prowls a small town in the upcoming Prime Video psychological thriller series Silent River, and THR reports today that John Krasinski will star. Matthew Rhys has also joined the cast of Silent River. The Hollywood Reporter details Prime Video has given a series order to the show, which comes from the creator Aaron Rabin, who did Jack Ryan. And if you may not know, or if you do know, John was starred in Jack Ryan as Jack Ryan for Amazon MGM Studios. Ran for, I believe, 4 seasons, so pretty good show. If you like the whole CIA spy aspect, those types of shows and films, you would probably enjoy it. The series is said to be a, quote, drama about the cracks that emerge in a small town when it's discovered a serial killer lives among its residents. THR adds, in today's report, Krasinski and Rhys will play 2 men whose lives are more connected than they realize. Quote, we are thrilled to continue our work with John Krasinski, Allison Seeger, and Sunday night on this gripping series, which delves into the mysteries and secrets of small-town America, said Vern Sanders, head of television at Amazon MGM. With John and Matthew Rhys attached to star in this wonderful story from Aaron, our global customers will be on the edge of their seats throughout this thought-provoking psychological thriller. So these types of shows I'm all for. I don't think we get enough of these psychological thriller shows, especially I feel like outside of like Netflix. Netflix does have quite a few of them, and they are done very well. But we all know how Netflix is, which I think they do it far more often than other streaming services. Is they will prematurely cancel a show without any rhyme or reason, even if it's doing even if it's very successful. If the fans are loving it, they will just all come out of the blue and be like, oh, well, the show's been canceled, even though we left you on a massive cliffhanger. So I do like that Amazon tends to, with these types of shows, let it play out a little bit, or they don't pigeonhole themselves into, well, we left season 1 wide open at the end, and now what do we do? Do we just cancel it, or how do we close this out? They typically will close it out. So I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I know John has dabbled into the horror space a little bit, as you all know, so seeing him again returning into the genre, expanding out, trying to leave back the Jim Halpert Office character by making sure he's not going to be typecasted for that alone. I mean, many of us probably know him for that, but he's done a lot of great stuff since then that I think has allowed him not to be so typecasted for that role. So looking forward to this, and once we get some behind the scenes images or first looks, even a teaser, we will be bringing them to the show and sharing them all with you as soon as we have them. All right, so our last story for today's episode, The Hallowarrior. Milly Shapiro stars in post-apocalyptic Halloween movie. So here's our first image of Milly. So some of you may remember her from the film Hereditary, which was also a psychological thriller horror film, I believe, from 2018. So she's fairly young, fairly new to the Hollywood space. Doesn't have a lot underneath her belt. Obviously, I think she's only done 2 or 3 films, and of those, 2 of them are going to be horror films. This is one of them that's currently underway. So the star of Ari Aster's Hereditary, Milly Shapiro returns to the horror genre in The Hallowarrior, and Variety shares the first news as well as the first look photo today, which is what we just saw above. Director Ben and based on his own proof of concept short film Scavenger, upcoming horror film The Hallowarrior takes place on Halloween Eve in an apocalyptic world. Milly Shapiro stars as Pumpkin, the last girl on Earth and sole survivor of humanity ending plague, scavenging the wasteland for supplies on the eve of Halloween. Quote, Pumpkin's lonely holiday ritual is interrupted by the arrival of a savage gang of raiders at her doorstep, led by the fearsome Thalia. Outnumbered and armed with candy, wit, and weapons, Pumpkin must fiercely fight back to survive the night. We're gonna come back. So that's where it pretty much ends. So let's break that down just a bit. So it says that she's the last girl on Earth and sole survivor of a humanity-ending plague. Yet she runs into Shannon, the character played by Shannon, who's female, and it's a gang of raiders. So she's not the last surviving girl. She's not the sole survivor, and she's outnumbered, and she's only armed with candy, wit, and weapons. Okay. So, not sure how this is gonna play out. Again, all we have is a first look. I like the first look. It feels like a definite horror film. Has the vibe of a Halloween film. However, based on the very, very brief synopsis, I'm not quite sold on where we're going with this story or film. And I've said this before, we will give it a chance. We will give it a view. I believe fair play for anything in the horror genre. Won't judge it without seeing it. But I am looking at this and I'm not fully sold on the story. To say I'm excited about seeing this. But again, we will give it a chance. There's no dates here as to when we can expect this film. Again, we have a first look, so obviously it's in production, but nothing saying if it's going to come in 2025. I'd imagine it will be 2025, but as far as when, it doesn't say. So once we know more, we will bring it to the show and let you all know. But again, based on this brief synopsis, yeah, definitely need to see a trailer to see how this is going to play out. Usually after we get a trailer, we can break it down, look at it a bit. I'm a little bit either further confident that we will enjoy it, or my confidence level starts to deteriorate, thinking I may not enjoy this film. So we'll see what this one brings to the table for sure. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's episode. I just want to thank you for spending just a few moments of your day with me and us here at Reign of Horror. It is greatly appreciated. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't done so, please drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about today's topics. Are you looking forward to the Hallowarrior? What do you think about the casting for Silent River? And again, if you haven't seen Terrifier 3, check it out. And do you think that we will just continue to see more of Art the Clown in the future? All right, everyone, I appreciate it, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.